Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANS Gear, and we've got a brand new product from DLX in front of us today. This is the TM40 mech frame. So this is compatible with TM40s to switch over from the electronic frame to the mechanical frame. So let's go ahead and open this up and show you what you get, and then throw it onto a gun right here. So we've got our box. We're gonna slide that open. We've got a brief little manual right here. Now this does go over a lot of the things for the electric version, which, I mean, it still makes sense, you know, how to, well, you're not going to use that part on there, obviously, but how to go from your bolt, how to open it up, how to gas up the gun, where your adjustments are for this trigger, which you're not going to use, but for this one you will. So it's got stuff that you definitely need for the mech frame, but there's also stuff in here that you don't need for your electric frame. How to switch out your solenoid components right there and make sure that everything is right. We're going to do that though, real easy. One thing you do have to just be aware of when you do pull the original solenoid out, there are some O-rings that will stay in the manifold that you don't want to fall out. So you want to be looking for those when you pull the original solenoid out and when you put the new one in. So let's go ahead and just get to it. It's really simple to do. First off, we have our frame, which we're going to need right here. And then over here, we have our some O-rings, some extra O-rings if you need to replace the ones that we were kind of talking about a second ago. And then our new valve assembly right here. If you look at our valve, it has a little like wire clip on one side of it that does hold the internals in place if you were to pull them out. But this also is a good indicator of which way this needs to go once we put it inside here. So let's go ahead and move this over here, move this over here, and then we'll get that open. If we wanted to take this apart and get the things out of it, we would pull this pin out. Right there, you can see I can get that and I can pull that out. And once that's out, this will allow me to remove the pieces from the inside. Now, I'm pretty sure I did this on some of the other frames already that we've talked about from DLX and on like the shocker stuff. There we go. There's that. Now this one, I don't want to really push on it right now and get crazy with it. There we go. Because I don't want to lose any pieces. All right, so we've got that coming out. And this is the same kind of setup that we saw before. We've got our front plate on there. There is a tiny little O-ring underneath there that you'll want to keep track of. Push this pin out again. Got our little shaft right there. There is an O-ring that you can see sitting right up on the top there. That just kind of fits right into that little pocket, just like that. So it seals on this piece when we put it back in there. And then sitting underneath that, you've got this little size O-ring down here as well. So let's put all these pieces back in together. It's really simple to take apart and put back together and get everything you need service-wise right there. My pick is not going to help me put this O-ring back into place, so I'm just going to use the flat end of an Allen key and push that little O-ring back down inside there. Then we can take our pin, put our pin down in there, and then we want to make sure that we have our little silver plate over the top of our blue little like washer thing with the O-ring in it. There is an O-ring right inside there. This plate needs to sit over the top of it and then go on there. We can push that into place. Whoop, wanted to pop out on me there. I want to make sure that this blue piece does sit right down in there flush on that bottom. And if it doesn't want to stay in there, we want to get in there and kind of see what's going on. It's probably going to be easier I take this, put it around there. And put that one in. No, it still wants to fight me a little bit. Let's try again. I'm going to push the pin up a little bit this time to see if it helps getting inside the O-ring that's sitting on the blue piece. No, still doesn't want to go in there. Well, that's good. I'm glad this is happening to us now so we can figure out how to get that piece back on there. There we go. I just kind of rested it on top of there and then pushed it in. Way more fighting than I needed to do with it. So it's really hard to get that blue piece to sit flat on there. So I just laid it on top so it was lined up properly and then slid the whole housing in. And by putting it in there, it pushes that blue piece into where it needs to go. So that way I wasn't fighting it to have it on there. Let's put our pin back in place here. And then push that through. Then we want to make sure that this little brass piece inside here is lined up properly so that our pin can slide in and hold it where it needs to be. All right, that took a little longer than expected, but that's okay. Let's get our frame off. Lift that up and pull our frame off. Once our frame is off, fold down our lever. And then as I slide this up, I want to check that these two O-rings, there and there, are in the right spot, that they haven't fallen out or moved or aren't stuck to the solenoid right there. We want to make sure that they're where they should be. Now, if we look at the front of this, you can see that there's two holes on this face right here. And on the other side, there are no holes. So these two holes need to line up with those two O-rings that are inside there. Also, this little bracket that sits around here will fit into this little notch that's cut out right there. So we can take that, we can slide that down in. Just like that. You can see that the notch, the brass piece, or the manifold, I should say, and the wire retaining clip has fit together in that little V right there. Everything's in, and then we can fold our latch back up and lock that in place. Sometimes with these, I have seen that if you just grab the latch and just try to fold it straight up, you can see how it kind of is putting the wire at an angle right there. It won't want to latch properly. So we want to make sure that we keep our wire straight across the bottom, and then it will fold up nice and easy along there. If I undo that and then just kind of grab it and see how it's really bending that and trying to pull it up there, this won't latch right there. If you try and try and try, you possibly could break it or cause a problem. So we want to push it back down and then flip it over, and it will latch no problem. If you're trying to latch it and you feel a lot of resistance, don't keep going. Just unlatch it and start again. All right, so let's get that. brain stopped working there. I was just trying to put the mechanic or the electric frame back on there. There we go. It's like, why won't that fit? Well, that's why. So there you go. Mechanical frame installed. Put our bolt in there. Wonder how many of you were screaming at me right there. You're putting the wrong frame on it. Yeah, you're right, I was. And that's it. It's that easy to switch that out. Now, if we weren't talking all about like the inside of the valve and stuff like that, it takes no time at all to go back and forth. There, 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 there. Check to make sure our O-rings are there. Take this one, drop it back down inside. Make sure our wire stays straight. Lock our solenoid in place. Bring it up. Put this back together. Closed. 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 There you go. Switched back. It's that fast if you're not BSing about all the other stuff going on there. But that's it right there. That is the install and uninstall of the brand new TM40 mech frame setup. It's super easy, super fun. We'll go outside and shoot this one in a little bit, but this is how you do it from ANSgear.com.